Hello, everybody. This is Joseph P. Farrell with news and views from the Nefarium on Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Our penultimate news and views of the year today. We have one more before my Christmas break. So this one is a very interesting one. We'll get to that in a minute. It's going to be short, but I assure you it is very interesting. Before we get to that, don't forget, tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, we do have our penultimate vid chat of 2025. So that means please get your questions and comments posted in the comments area of the vid chat on the website no later than 10 o'clock U.S. Central Time tonight. Remember that after the Christmas break, we will be going back to at least one vid chat per month on the old format where you email your questions and comments to me directly. Many of you have requested the old format, so I'm going to give, after the first of the year, we're going to have one old format vid chat per month and then one new format vid chat per month. So I'll be briefing you as to what that entails after the first of the year when I come back from my Christmas break. Anyway, this article was sent by one of our regular article spotters, VT. You've seen the initials of this individual on the website many, many times in conjunction with articles, pardon me, that I'm either blogging about or that I'm including in the week's honorable mentions. This is a weird story, and it's very short, but it's one of those stories that I think clearly is begging for some high-octane speculation, which I'm certainly going to attempt to provide. And I also think that the story is a warning. And it's a warning for those of you in the market for a new or used car. All right? So we'll get back to what the warning is after I read a few paragraphs. It's a very short article. So I'm reading almost half of the whole article in selecting the paragraphs from the article that I have. The article is titled Panic in Russia as hundreds of Porsches mysteriously shut down. Of course, Porsche being the luxury high-end German sports car. Okay? And let me read the following 5 paragraphs from this article. I'm starting almost at the beginning of the article. Quote, on Monday, December 1st, hundreds of Porsche owners across Russia awoke to discover that their prized German cars had effectively turned into motionless bricks on wheels. Reports now suggest that Porsche's own vehicle tracking system, or VTS, may be at the center of the mystery. Whether the culprit is a software update gone wrong or a deliberate move from a third party, the outcome is the same. Now, I want you to latch on to that sentence real hard. Let me read it again. Whether the culprit is a software update gone wrong or a deliberate move from a third party, the outcome is the same. From Moscow to Krasnodar, drivers are finding themselves stranded with cars that refuse to respond. Now, Krasnodar is way down south in the Transcaucasus region of European Russia. The issue impacts Porsche models dating back to 2013, all of which have a factory vehicle tracking system. Let me repeat that one. The issue impacts Porsche models dating back to 2013, all of which have a factory vehicle tracking system. If the vehicle tracking system loses satellite signal, it automatically activates the engine immobilizer and stops the car from working. Now let me skip one short paragraph and continue. Inside the country, speculation is already swirling. The Moscow Times cites one dealer representative who said it's possible this was done deliberately. Notably, they also admit that there is no direct evidence to support that theory at the moment. And skipping a couple more paragraphs for the final excerpt from the article. Others say their car died moments after starting up. Some have gone so far as to rip out connectors for the alarm system in an attempt to disable it altogether. Some report success in getting their car to start after removing the battery for at least 10 hours. And that's the story. So as you can imagine, and as I'm sure you're already thinking of all the scenarios and all the implications of this little story. The first is, even if it's accidental, even if this is merely the result of a bad software update or some glitch in the satellite-to-ground communication with Porsche cars, the result is you are suddenly immobilized in the middle of your day, perhaps even in the middle of an emergency. Now, the real problem here, folks, is do we want vehicles of this nature? And I got to be honest with you. The last time I bought a car, I made sure to buy a car that was a used car that was made before all of this digitalized, computerized nonsense that enables the government to shut your car down, just like they want to install a digital currency system to be able to shut your financial system down if you step out of line. Now, let's assume that what just happened in Russia is accidental. What will be the result in Russia? Now, I'm going to go way out on a limb here and speculate before I turn to the deliberate part of this story, because the deliberate hypothesis, I think, only buttresses this conclusion. What this means, I suspect, in Russia is that over the long term, you're going to see a revitalization of the Russian automobile industry. Now, most people don't think of Russia as having an automobile industry. However, they do. And in fact, Russia produces some very high quality luxury limousines for its super wealthy class and its political class. What I suspect this means is that this will lead to a long-term expansion of Russia's domestic automobile industry, because I think you're going to see a lot of Russians walking away from these luxury German cars simply as a result of this incident. We have to remember that the Russians are very pragmatic, and they don't take interference with their country lying down, even if that interference is accidental. Okay, that's problem number one. But now let's assume, like many in Russia, and including the Moscow Times, are already doing, that this was a deliberate act. So the first question is, who did it? And the first obvious answer would be, well, the West somehow, perhaps even including the Ukraine, managed to hack the Porsche computer system and interfere with Porsche cars inside of Russia. It wouldn't surprise me. But if so, the result is going to be exactly the same, especially if Russia does conclude that this was external influence. This will be another impetus for them to ensure that their domestic automobile industry, number one, is secure from these kinds of attacks on VTS systems, vehicle tracking systems, and it will probably also mean, inevitably, that car manufacturers are going to be forced by sheer market pressure. Let me repeat that. Are going to be forced by sheer market pressure to issue and manufacture vehicles without those systems. or in countries where those systems are required, you're going to see the emergence of a black market mechanical industry among mechanics designed to take those things out or remove their ability to shut down automobiles at the government's insistence. So again, the long-term effect on Russia is going to be the same. If this was a deliberate action on the part of the Russian government itself, again, it suits the same purpose because, first of all, you're creating a false flag that you can blame on somebody else, and you're creating a climate of opinion that will buttress the outcry for an independent Russian automobile industry with its own vehicle tracking system, if any at all. So in either case, the result is the same. This is a weird little story. And there's no doubt in my mind, I'm pretty sure most of you can guess which side of the accident or deliberate action version of this story I'm coming down on. I can't help but believe that there might be some deliberate action here. Even if this is accidental, however, the result will be the same. It's going to focus attention if enough people are focused on this and if enough similar incidents start occurring in the West. And at that point, folks, watch prices of used cars manufactured before all of this digitalized tracking nonsense began to be insisted upon. Watch the prices of those kinds of used cars if you can still find them. Notice how they've been carefully taken off the market. Those cars will skyrocket. They will skyrocket. And if you have one, do your best to keep it running. So that's our strange, weird little news and views from the Nefarium out of Mother Russia today. We'll see you on the flip side, everybody. Don't forget, we do have the 2 o'clock in the afternoon vid chat tomorrow afternoon. Get your questions and comments in no later than 10 o'clock U.S. Central Time tonight. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow, barring any technical glitches. I've been having weird little technical glitches, but hopefully those will be taken care of. Anyway, tomorrow's 2 o'clock afternoon vid chat. We'll see you next week for the last news and views from the Nefarium for 2025, and next week also, if you're a member, for the last vid chat of 2025. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you on the flip side, and God bless.